Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing the sixth form video that you've all been waiting for. I'm actually in front of natural light today, so if the light goes in and out then I'm really sorry. Basically I'm just going to be telling you all the things that I have found from sixth form, tips and tricks and stuff that I think is really important over the past year that I've been in sixth form doing my A-levels. The A-levels I do are geography, business, sociology and English. I've actually dropped sociology this year because you drop one A-level after the first year. Or the majority of people do. Some people just do 3 to start with, some people do 5. That's very, not many people do 5 though. Most people do 4 and drop 1 after AS. So I dropped sociology and I'm going on to do geography, business and English at A2 level, and I'll be starting those on the... So, the first thing I just want to mention is kind of off the subject, but I've had my hair cut, if any of you've noticed. She actually took quite a lot off. I don't really like it that much. I kind of prefer it a bit longer. It just feels like it's a bit of an awkward length. But yeah, it's okay. And she's just kind of chopped into it a bit more. Like I've got more of a bit more volume in the fringe here. And then she kind of put more layers in and stuff. Just had it cut basically. And I haven't had my ombre redone because, or anything done colour wise, because at the end of the day you can still see the ombre, so I don't see the point in like getting it redone if it like already looks good. Anyway, so I'm going to get on to my first tip. The first thing is basically, if you don't like your subject in the first few weeks, if you're doing it, you think it's too difficult, you think it's boring, you just do not like it, get out of it now. Like, in the first few weeks, you can normally get out of the subject, like, quite easily. You can normally just say, I want to change subjects or I want to drop it. Quite a few of my friends did 4 and then, like, hated the subject, so then dropped it and then were like, oh, well, I don't really want to do anything else, and then carried on with 3, which is absolutely fine. But the thing is that if you don't like that subject, it's fine you saying, oh, I'll be fine. In 2 months' time, you might be fine. But wait until you've done it for another year, and you will absolutely hate it. You won't want to revise it when you come to your exams, nothing like that. You want to read the textbooks, nothing. Which makes it really difficult to get a good grade in it, even if you're, think that you're good at it. If you don't like it, you're not going to revise it, and that's the problem. So I think the thing is basically just to get out of it really quick, and that actually didn't happen to me, but it happened to quite a few of my friends, and they really didn't like the subject they were doing, and they ended up dropping it. And I think especially that the sciences, biology was definitely one that a lot of people in my year absolutely hated, didn't do very well in, just found it so difficult, but carried on with it. And I think unless you want to be a doctor or you want to do something to do with biology, just don't bother if you don't like it. Next thing I think is really important, which is read ahead or read other textbooks. Reading ahead first is really important, especially if you're doing English. English is really good to read the books before you get into class. I know obviously now you're going to be sat in school and then you're going to be reading English books, but say like obviously you'll read it quite slowly in class. If you want to read it in the first like month or so, get it into your head, and then while you're reading it in class you find out different things because you've already read it beforehand. I didn't actually do that, and I really wish I had, so I've read my A2 books now over the summer for next year, which is good. So yeah, I just really would recommend doing that. Obviously, as I said, you are going to start in school soon, so obviously you're not going to have that, but you can still read it in the first few months because you want to finish the books for quite a while. And also talking about reading ahead in other subjects, just kind of like if you're doing a unit and then your teacher says, okay, we're going to do unit 2 or whatever, or unit 2.25 or in 2 weeks time, then you can start reading that, or it's kind of like that, you understand what I mean. Another thing that I find really good is reading other textbooks. I think it's good because the teachers do have other textbooks that they will recommend if you go and ask them, like if there's any other textbooks. You can also, instead of buying them, because I know that like the sixth form textbooks are really expensive because you have to get them yourself, they're like £20–25, and some of them, like one guy that does music, his textbook was ridiculously expensive. So I think like there's loads of different things like that. Sorry, I keep touching my hair. But basically, you can go get out of the library, you could get like an ebook, stuff like that, even if it's just like little bits, even if you're just researching things on the internet. I think it's really good to just get other people's opinion and not to rely on your teacher. I think it's really important not to just rely on the teacher. At GCSE level and other levels, the teacher will give you everything. They'll tell you everything you need to do, they'll tell you how to do this, how to do that. But in A-level is a bit different, and they do still hand it to you on a plate. Like when you get there, you'll be like, oh hang on, she said that, they don't hand it to you on a plate. They do, but I think they don't tell you as much as they did in GCSE, not because they don't want you to succeed, but it's because it's a harder subject, and they're teachers, that's fine, but they don't know everything, and that's what you got to remember. They don't know everything in the world, and I think a really important thing is to remember that you've got to do some research by yourself. So say, you know, I'm going to talk about English again. If you're doing poetry, for, like, let's say, go and research the poems by yourself, go and have a look. If you're doing sociology, go and have a look at different studies and, you know, different bits like that. If you're doing geography, go and have a look at different volcanoes and different earthquakes. Loads of things like that. I'm just talking from my own, like, experience, but I really think that's important, especially, as I said, if you speak to the teachers, they'll definitely know other textbooks that you can get if they want you to get them. Another thing I'm going to say is revise. This is not GCSEs anymore. GCSEs, I think you can kind of get by with just revising here, revising there kind of thing. But I do think it's really, really important just to revise and just do it. I think don't procrastinate around it, just because you'll so regret it when you get the results and then be like, oh, for goodness sake, I'm going to revise more next year. I think it's just really, really good if you just revise, get it in your head, just spend time, make a revision timetable. I know it's really, like, hard to say, like, in hindsight, you know, I can say this from last year. And I didn't get bad results, but I mean, like, I could have tried harder, and I think that's the thing. You don't want to think like that. You don't want to think, oh my god, I totally could have tried harder doing sociology, you know, whatever. I think it's just important, just do it at the time, and I'm saying that from experience, so yeah, just do it. And also on that topic, revision cue cards are really, really good to have. I'll just show you. These type of cue cards with the little lines on them like this. I think when we started doing revision for our exams, we started getting these and writing different topics on. So say it was like a study in sociology, to put the study on. Say if you were talking about an earthquake, I'd do an earthquake on here. Say if you're talking about a formula in business, I'd do a formula kind of thing. So yeah, they're really, really good. Like, obviously you can do it for all subjects, but again, just talking from my own experience. And definitely get some of those cue cards. I think also the good thing is to do them throughout the year. Like, do your cue card after you've finished, like, a study or after you finish a topic in your subject, because at the end of the year, when you're trying to write every single cue card for every single subject that you've done, it's quite difficult. So I think the thing is, just do it throughout the year, and then you'll have a nice build-up of cue cards at the end of the year to revise on, which is really, really good. Another thing that I want to say, nearly the last thing really, is be organised. Decide whether you want to write in pads, folders, or on an iPad or a laptop. I think it's really important. I went from writing in folders to writing in pads to writing on an iPad to writing in folders to writing in pads. Like, it just kind of, you just need to decide what you want to do at the start of the year. Like, try different things out in the first few weeks, see what you like best. By writing in pads, I mean writing in a textbook, like, let's just say this was bigger, writing in here and just, like, literally keeping it in here. A folder, I mean like this, so a folder that you've written the work in a pad, and then you've put it in a ring binder folder, and you've got stuff in here, and that way you can also put sheets in that the teacher has given you, and that's folders are my favourite. I think they're a lot of people's favourites. And another thing is basically getting an iPad or a laptop and typing everything on there, and obviously that is easy because you can change things, and I think it is good because you can reorganise things, whereas if you're writing you can't necessarily do that. But yeah, definitely choose what you're going to do. I know it's really difficult to try things out in the first few weeks. Obviously, if any boys are watching this, probably thinking, for goodness sake, shut up, because boys just aren't really bothered with organisation, but girls, I think you do get a bit like, oh, I want to write this, I want to write this, I want to write pretty colours, stuff like that. So yeah, just think about it. And the last thing I want to say is, do not get downhearted. In your first few weeks, when you start doing an exam paper or you start doing an essay, something like that, it will be bad. Unless you're an absolute genius, it will not be good. I went from having an A in GCSE English to getting a U in my first assessment in A-level. So you've just got to think, at the end of the day, you've just got to take it with a pinch of salt. Obviously, my teacher said none of you will get over a C. And obviously, I got a U. It was the worst grade you possibly could have got. But I think, like, I'd written, like, this 3-page essay and ended up with a U in it. And I was like, how does that even work? And I got really downhearted and got really upset about it. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to do good in your first exam, and I know the first exams aren't until June for AS and A2 because they've scrapped the January ones now, so obviously you're going to have a lot more pressure on you. Again, not trying to put you off. Obviously you're going to have a lot more pressure on you, but you just got to revise. You just got to think, I can do this, you know, it's not impossible to do, and you just got to try and take it with a pinch of salt, as I said. And yeah, just don't get downhearted, just enjoy it. It's a really nice 2 years. It is very, very difficult, and you know, if you do get bad results, you get really, really annoyed, and you think, oh, I've put in all this work and it must be the teacher's fault, it must be this, and that's why I'm saying do not rely on the teacher too much. Just for example, one of the people in one of my classes, I'm not going to say names just in case someone watches this from my school and stuff, one of the people started doing something completely different to what the teacher did. Not completely different, but started doing outside the box more research, looking at mark schemes and seeing what they were asking for, stuff like that. and they ended up with an A, and the rest of the class ended up with like C's. So I do think, as I'm saying, don't just rely on your teacher, and that's a really, really, really big point, because at GCSEs it's all about the teachers. But because you've got your own textbooks now, you can bring them home, you can like look outside of the box kind of thing. I think it is a bit easier now you've got your own textbooks and stuff. So I really, really hope this helped. I know it was a bit rambly. This is going to have a lot of editing done to it because I've stopped and started so many times in this video. Oh, the lighting's gone a bit weird. But thank you very much for watching. I'm really not trying to put you off going to sixth form. It is a great experience. It's lovely. You know, there's a smaller group of people, you know, there's smaller classes. It's nice. You know, you get on really well with the teachers because you're a bit older. I think it's just a really nice atmosphere. And again, if you're going to college and doing A-levels, this kind of all kind of relates as well. But yeah. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. I really hope it's helped some of you. If you're going to sixth form, let me know down below. Let me know how you're feeling. Or if you've got any more questions, just ask me down below. Also, I do have Twitter, which is at JDR Makeup. If you want to ask me any questions on there, I'll leave that down below as well. And I also have Instagram if you want to follow me on there, which is JDR Makeup as well, which I post quite a lot of photos on Instagram all the time. And if you want to contact me via email, my email is jdrmakeuprequests@live.co.uk, I think. I'll leave that down below anyway, and it's also on the side of my YouTube page. So that is about it. So thank you very much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope this has helped some of you. I'll speak to you all later. Bye!